Hi, it's Hope and welcome to the video. I'm gonna apologize for my appearance. It is really fucking hot. And so I'm sweating. I'm just like, I feel like a hot mess, which is hilarious because that's what my shirt literally says. But yeah, but this is going to be my mid-month wrap-up. I have read 8 books in the first, well, I'm filming this on the 16th, so the first 16 days, unless I finish something tonight, which is, I highly doubt. But yeah, so I'm just going to go into the 8 books that I've read so far this month, explain a little bit about them, my thoughts, and all of that. So the first book I started and finished this month is Immortal Throne by J.C. Mackenzie and Harper A. Brooks, which I gave 3 stars. This is a, like, paranormal romance where essentially we follow Sloane, who she finds out that she's dying. And then at the same time, she finds out that she is the heir to the throne of hell, and she has to go through these trials to, like, get that title. And this I gave a 3-star because I didn't really feel connected to the character or the atmosphere, but I did absolutely love the little sidekick, which is a talking dog. Like a talking demonic dog, basically. That was the highlight of the book. Did not expect that when I went in, but I was thoroughly surprised, and I absolutely loved that aspect. But I just felt like the trials were a bit, like, constant, and weren't that interesting, so 3 stars. The next book is Loveless by Alice Oseman. I gave this 5 stars. This essentially we follow Georgia, who she, is going to university, going to Durham University to be specific, and at university she just kind of, she's never been kissed, she's never had a relationship, and she wants those things to happen because she feels like she's not normal because she hasn't done those things. So she tries to do that, and then new terms such as asexual and aromantic are, like, told to her, and she realizes, hey, that might be me, and it's her and her friends going to university, making new friends, like, kind of figuring out who you are. I gave this 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, this is so far my favorite book I've read this month. Then we have Dukes of Madness by Angel Lawson and Samantha Rue. This is the 5th book in the Royals of Forsyth University series, but the 2nd in the, like, Dukes portion of it. Basically, it's a dark romance set in a university, the reverse harems, where essentially in the first book where we're following these characters, we have Lavinia, who basically she gets kidnapped, and yeah, that's a horrible description, but I gave Dukes of Madness 4 stars because I did enjoy it. Again, it's a dark romance. I don't really go into that much detail on my things with dark romances because my brain can never figure out how my thoughts are, except I enjoyed it. The next book I read was Cafe Con Lychee by Emery Lee. And basically in this book we follow Gabby and Theo, who they basically have to work together to save their parents' respective businesses, while also they are enemies, and then they become friends. And that is a horrible description, but that is, like, the basic premise. That's all I knew going into that, and I feel like that's all you need to know. But we follow both Theo and Gabby, and just kind of, like, how they're managing different aspects of their life. And then, yeah, that's a horrible description. I read this for Yalkathon. I'll leave that vlog linked somewhere. So yeah, but this I gave 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. The audiobook is amazing, so I'd recommend that. Next I read Hopeless by Colleen Hoover, and this essentially we follow Sky, who meets Holder, and they end up forming a relationship, and then things from Sky's past end up getting brought up, and it's a Colleen Hoover book. I gave it 4 stars. Plot twists, dark topics. I don't really know what I can say without spoiling, but this book, it made me uncomfortable. Like, this book made me more uncomfortable than, like, some of the dark romance stuff that I've read. like, because of just like the way it's written, you're just like, this is so realistic and so morally wrong, and like you hurt for the characters. Like, I didn't cry because of things, but I was just kind of like, oh my god, I want to take this character, wrap them in a hug, and say, like, I'm sorry those things happened to you. And like, I literally felt so uncomfortable, I had to put the book down and stand up and just be like, oh god. So yeah, I still loved it because it's Colleen Hoover. I will be reading Losing Hope, which is basically Hopeless from Holder's point of view. Hopeless is in Skye's point of view, so I will be reading that at some point, maybe next month, I'm not sure. I also read It's Not Summer Without You by Jenny Han, and this I gave 4 stars. This is the sequel to The Summer I Turned Pretty, which essentially we follow Belly, who she goes to Cousins Beach every single summer with her family and with her mom's friend and her kids. And it is basically, there's a love triangle between Belly and then Jeremiah and Conrad, and yeah, that's the basic premise. In book 2, we are the following summer where Conrad has gone missing and Belly and Jeremiah go and find him, and yeah, I enjoyed this more than The Summer I Turned Pretty. I think I enjoyed this one better than The Summer I Turned Pretty because A, I listened to the audiobook, and B, the audiobook is like recorded by the actors that play Belly and Jeremiah in the show, which I loved the show. And so I feel like that, and also I had more of a picture of the characters in my head after watching the show, so I could imagine the characters better in my head while reading book 2. So yeah. Next I read Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. I gave this 5 stars. If it looks like I'm in the middle of it, I'm not. I finished it, but there's just the like Destroy Me novella in the back of the book that I haven't read yet. But this essentially follows Juliet, who her touch is lethal. If she touched somebody, they will get either really badly injured or die, more likely die. And she ends up getting, she's been imprisoned for the last 264 days, and now the reestablishment, which is basically like the government, want to work with her, and that's the brief premise. This was a reread for me. I really enjoyed rereading it and seeing, because I've read the entire series. So now going back to the first book and being like, oh my god, things are so different. Things change so much. And then things that the characters say, you're like, haha, that fact is not true. Or, oh, that now makes more sense because of what we learn. So yeah, I had to read this so that I could read Unravel Me, which is the Late Night Bookworming Book Club's pick for July. Loveless was the June pick. But, so now that I've read this, I can read the Destroy Me novella and then read Unravel Me later this month. And the final book that I'm going to talk about is Hideaway by Penelope Douglas. This is the second book in the Devil's Night series, which it's like a series of standalones of like dark romance, but they're all intertwined. I'm trying to figure out what I can say about Hideaway without spoiling basically everything, but we follow Kai and Banks, and they basically, it's like an enemies to lovers, fuck, how do I describe this book? I literally cannot describe this book. I loved it though. I gave it 4 stars. I'm so excited to continue the series. But yeah, when in doubt, it's Penelope Douglas. I've pretty much enjoyed everything I've read by her, and I'm happy that I'm continuing with this series because I really enjoyed the first book, which is Corrupt, and now Hideaway. I really enjoyed it. I think I liked it more than Corrupt, and so now I'm excited to read, is Killswitch the 3rd book? I feel like that's the 3rd book, which I probably will be reading either later this month or in August because I'm dying to read that. So yeah, those are the books that I read this month. I'm sorry I didn't go into that much detail for some of them. My brain, it's too hot to think. Like I'm literally, after this, I'm gonna go sit in front of a fan and cool off because I'm sweating so bad. But let me know what is one book you've read so far this month, or if you've read any of these, or just anything bookish in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. But yeah, bye!